There was something I failed to talk about in the video that I recorded the other day when I was talking about John Hinckley Jr. rabbit hole. And I wanted to cover it now because I realize now it's a pretty interesting and possibly significant little nugget. And we are roughly at around the time of the year when I think it was late March. So now I guess it's getting to be late April. So I'm a little bit late for the anniversary of the event, which took place in 1981, the attempted assassination of Reagan, the permanent wounding of James Brady, and all of that, which happened outside of the Hilton Hotel in D.C. And John Hinckley Jr. was the alleged shooter. Now, I've heard some people say that while he fired some of the shots, that the kill shot might have come from somewhere else. There, which is one of the videos that I linked in that video that I recorded the other day, and I'm certainly open to that possibility. What strikes me is there really isn't all that much out there about John Hinckley Jr., who is a fellow YouTuber and a fellow musician. He's got his own music. All you have to do is type in John Hinckley with a C, which some people say is a Mandela effect thing. I don't know about that, but maybe it was. Maybe the C is a new thing that we've course corrected into a different dimension, and now he's John Hinckley Jr. with a C instead of without a C. But anyway, he's got his tunes. He's got his guitar. He's written some original songs. So go and check him out. But anyway, here's what I skipped, or what I neglected to mention from that last video. There was a really interesting. It was a network segment. It was CBS Evening News or something like that. So you wouldn't think there would be a lot of truth contained in it, since it's manufactured news from the Mockingbird media. My suspicion, however, is that there was more truth to be gleaned. The major media, even though it was largely controlled, wasn't as controlled back in 1981 as it is now. The control wasn't as complete as it has become, and so little nuggets of truth steal their way in. And so there's this segment, and I'll post it again to this video so you can see for yourself. And it's about the events leading up to the attempted assassination of Reagan, and how Hinckley stayed in a motel room for several days and answered a payphone every day at the same time. He was observed doing that, I think, by the motel staff, which is, that's certainly an interesting fact. But what I forgot to highlight was there was a period of time where Hinckley apparently joined the American Nazi Party, and was a member of the American Nazi Party for a good amount of time, like about a year or so, and was helping to distribute their literature and whatnot. And then they kicked him out because he was too much of a loose cannon. It's sort of something like, if the American Nazi Party thinks you're bad news, then wow. But anyway, the segment in the video is very strange because they had this interview with these people who are members of this American Nazi Party, which I don't even know whether they exist anymore. They probably don't. But they're all decked out in, like, they're dressed up like Himmler. They've got the cap, and they've got the shirt with the regalia on it, and the armbands and everything. And they're doing the whole Hollywood Nazi look, and for the interview. That in itself is really strange. Like why they would just present that way. It just seems like overkill, but maybe that was their thing. That was the way they did it back then. I don't know. But the fact that Hinckley, all of these things taken together, that he was part of, that he was the son of a wealthy family who were acquainted with the Bush family, and who were also in the oil industry, and Hinckley went from being this really well-adjusted popular kid as a youth in elementary school and middle school, and then something happened, and he just became this aimless kind of out of it guy who just couldn't get his shit together, who had all these seeming delusions about himself, and spent time in Hollywood trying to make it as a writer, or maybe even as an actor. I don't know. I'm not sure in what capacity right now. And then joined the Nazi Party for a while, and then supposedly followed Jimmy Carter around a little bit, and so all of these things are suggestive. They could just be suggestive of somebody who was just mentally ill just because of random chemical mutations, whatever it is that happens to people who are schizophrenic or manic depressive or whatever. It could have just been that, or his sudden change in temperament from a well-adjusted youth to this strange, this man who has no social graces whatsoever, and who doesn't really know how to behave around people, and who does all these weird and crazy things, and dabbles in all this stuff, and eventually becomes obsessed with Jodie Foster in Taxi Driver. And also answers the phone at the same time from someone who's calling him. We don't know. What are they suggesting to him? Well, again, if this second possibility could be true, then maybe it's a word that's meant to be a trigger word, that's meant to get him in this mode, in assassin mode. And again, it's all speculative, but the fact that he was a member of the American Nazi Party, the Bush family has their connections to the original Nazis, as is well known, and also I would suspect that an outfit like the American Nazi Party is a hotbed for spooks, and so it's just one more strange thing that makes one wonder, or perhaps even suspect, that not everything that they tell us about this guy is the whole truth. That maybe he was somebody who was a Manchurian Candidate type, just like Sirhan apparently was, who was maybe subjected to some kind of treatment, some kind of MK Ultra-esque treatment, because he certainly presents as someone who's just like glassy-eyed, again, weirdly obsessive, inappropriate, mentally unstable, and again, he was not always that way. He was again, all of the testimony that you hear about him And again, there isn't that much out there about him, which is another thing that I find strange compared to the other assassins or would-be assassins or accused assassins. You know, the household names like Lee Harvey Oswald and Sirhan Sirhan, Mark David Chapman, and the like. We know the very least about John Hinckley, who is now out. He's now out and free, and even though he has to wear an ankle bracelet everywhere and has to be constantly monitored, he's out there recording music, wanting to start his own music label, writing original songs, and he was a member of the American Nazi Party, you know, just like the Bush family's grandfather or great grandfather was very plugged into that whole scene. So anyway, I wanted to bring that up because I didn't mention it the other day, and I will include that very interesting and informative news link that I also included in my video that I recorded the other day. So anyway, let me know what you think if you have any thoughts about it. Thanks for watching.